Hello, everyone. This is Level with Me. This is my show where I play through games and talk about what I think the level design is doing. Um, as is the case during these interesting coronavirus times, I don't have my camera activated because I'm not in my office studio space kind of thing. I'm just streaming this from home. So instead, you'll have a very pure camera feed of what I'm doing, and you don't have to look in my face anymore. And you'll just hear the soothing sounds of my voice. Um, let's get started with where we left off from last week. We're currently playing Black Mesa Source, a remake of Half-Life 1 in the Half-Life 2 engine. They recently just finished their version 1.0 release. Congratulations to all of them at Crowbar Collective for finally finishing it. And we are currently in chapter 5. We've got hostiles or hostiles. We've got hostiles. Um, Maybe I'll just start from there then. See what we've got here. Hey everyone in the chat. Sorry, I usually start at 2 p.m. but starting a little bit late today because I think I was too busy reading apocalyptic news on Twitter. So sorry, that's literally that's my excuse. Sorry. Okay. Let's see. So what happened last time was we went through a chapter called Office Complex, and in Office Complex, you have to go through all these offices. That's why it's called Office Complex. And then we fell through into this elevator, and now we're out here. We've got Hostiles is probably one of the more iconic chapters of Half-Life 1. A pretty big responsibility, actually, just because this is the chapter where they introduce a lot of stuff here. Why did my gun do that? That's weird. What? Where they introduce the new enemies, which are the human soldiers or marines or grunts, human grunts as we call it in the level editor. This is also where we introduce grenades. Thrown grenades are probably one of the loveliest mechanics ever invented in first-person shooters. They should probably make first-person games that are just grenades. You can have that idea for free. Let's see, what else is here? So, pretty big shoes, pretty big boots to fill here. It's a pretty big chapter to be working on. Let's see. So, first of all, just level design-wise, what we're looking at here. Oh yeah, and it's also introducing turrets. It's just introducing a lot of stuff. Oh, what's wrong with him? Oh, he doesn't look too good. What's happening there? Oh, where is that guy going? Oh. Uh-oh. So I think what most players do is they will let this door shut because they won't have realized what's really happening here. So I'll just go ahead and let that door shut. Even though if you're a cool player, you can sneak past that if you want. You also, want to stay in this room and examine it a little bit. Oh, sorry for any frame dropping. My Wi-Fi is pretty bad. I'm broadcasting from, East Brooklyn, so. So, needless to say, the Wi-Fi company's priority is not me, where I live, or not my neighbors. So, sorry, you'll just have to kind of put up with it. Hopefully it gets better, but I tried reducing the bitrate and going down to 720p and hope that'll make the stream smoother. Okay, but anyway, what are we looking at here? Let's see here. We have this big door here. This big door is actually our main objective for this chapter. We have to somehow find our way back into this office somehow, and then we'll be able to press a button to open this giant door here.
Emergency uranium containment team 2, sector D.
So, what's a little bit weird though is that because even though this is supposed to be the main objective, this isn't really like prominently lit or anything. This doesn't feel terribly important. I think I would have probably lit this more prominently. I would have probably put a giant floodlight on this door just to make it pop out a lot more. Because right now, when you leave it this dark, it kind of just recedes into the background a little bit. It looks like a fake door, or if I opened this up, it would be a wall. But again, this is actually the main objective of the chapter, so it's a little bit weird that it doesn't read more prominently. Let's see. I think the emergency lights also don't help make the case for this door being important. Because when you put emergency lights up here, it almost reads more like this, emergency set dressing that doesn't feel important. Yeah, we could have maybe done rotating lights.
Military personnel.
I don't know.
Prosecute. Kilo, Lima, India.
Let's see what else. All these textures are pretty faithful remakes from the original Half-Life 1 version. There's indeed a concrete wall with this green stripe on the bottom. We're going to be seeing that a lot in the chapter. We're going to be seeing a lot of this brick right here as well. I think texturing-wise, I would probably lay off on the grunge on this concrete, though. It's just a little bit too much. I think it's a little bit, too gritty. I don't know. It makes the game seem older. It makes the game feel more like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2007 instead of something we're playing in 2020 where clean, physically based concrete is probably the big trend right now. But let's see. I think the other complaint we could make here is that this room I feel like it's been enlarged. It's a little bit too much, maybe. Maybe the original room was smaller, but you make this bigger so you can fit more details in and make it look fancier and stuff. But I do like this color story we have here, where we have this really bright office light coming out, and then it's casting this nice shadow on the ground. So we have that nice contrast. It's like a very sharp shadow here that contrasts with a lot of the soft, warm light coming in here. So that's not too bad. And of course, this is kind of a little bit too intense. Yeah, I don't really like how they lit these chargers. I think I would have solved it all by having one big floodlight, like right here where this CCTV camera would be. I'd put a big floodlight right here to just make this door seem more important and also get these chargers in one fell swoop. Okay, I'm spending too long talking about lighting probably, sorry. It's been 10 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna continue. Okay, so what most players will do here is they realize the door's shut, they don't know what to do now. So now you have to be able to look at this and be like, okay, well, there's this thing next to the door. It looks like a button, but I can't press it. So I guess I'll break it. And now when I break it, I get to open the door. So it's like a mini tutorial thing. It's meant to show you that when you have an explosion, if you'll recall, this scientist, oh geez, he ran away in fear, triggered the trip mine, something exploded, the explosion broke this glass, and then that sets off the blast door. So this is meant to be like a tutorial where you see what happens when explosions set off the glass, but we also learned that this is a reversible operation in most cases, as long as we have a button on the other side. It's also important to note what our arsenal is. The player currently has very few tools. We have a crowbar, that's for close range stuff, a pistol, which is a weak, slow firing but accurate medium range weapon, and we have a shotgun, which is good for shooting close range things, but would obviously be inappropriate for most other things. So I think what most players would do at this point is they see these trip wires here and they would shoot them. And when they try to shoot them, nothing happens. And then you feel really disappointed. You feel really disappointed and upset. What a pro player would do probably is, because they can see that turret in the distance, they would probably snipe this turret in advance before triggering the turret with these red tripwires, because that's exactly what happens. Wow, the acquisition speed on them is really fast. I feel like they had more warning in the original Half-Life 1. There's a little, so it's a little bit intense. Trial by fire kind of tutorial. I think in this, because the acquisition speed is so fast, I think what'll happen with most players is they'll probably die really fast. But because I'm sneaky. Oh crap! Ah! Gonna probably try to slice the pie here. Toss a little grenade. Maybe try to... Yeah, this is a funny poster. You can't actually fall downstairs in first-person games most of the time, so it's a little bit silly. We could try to... I think what's a little weird about this situation is it's our first encounter with a turret, and it's actually kind of difficult as to figure out what we're supposed to do. I think what would have been best is to have full height cover right here, so this pillar, but when you put this beam here, that means I can't throw the grenade over it. So that means instead I have to bounce this grenade off something, and it's kind of hard for me to know how to throw this grenade here. I think if this was built in Half-Life 2 or built with a more modern sensibility, this chain link fence would probably be unbreakable glass, you know, like Portal or Portal 2 style, to give you an opportunity to observe what exactly is going to kill you. Because again, look at how dangerous this is. It kind of kills you really fast. They're pretty dangerous. So if Half-Life 1 was made today in 2020, I think this area would be much more hand-holdy, much more pleasant. But since it's not, I'm gonna have to try to slice the pie here and hope I can throw a grenade. Uh-oh. 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 I don't know if that helped. Oh, I guess that did. Wait, so what happened? So I threw a grenade there. It blew up that explosive box. The box floated towards me on fire. And then that triggers like a box. I don't really know. I don't really know what happened. So that's maybe the other problem with this kind of thing, because there was no like clear unbreakable glass or easy way to see what's happening and how the turret behaves. We're just kind of guessing what happened. Even though I've played Half-Life 1 like a lot, you know, I'm still not sure what happened. Okay, well, let's keep going. We could try to stack a box here to try to get up to here, I guess. Oh wait, no, I collected it anyway. Let's see what else is happening here. So this is like the first major encounter area we've seen in this level. Um, we have the fluorescent lighting here, which is okay. A week or two ago, I was critiquing the approach to ceiling lighting in some earlier chapters, where it was just like 30 small industrial little bell light fixtures, and then that created way too many hotspots, I think, along the ceiling. Here, I think this designer's done a much more subtle job, where they've actually turned off quite a few of these fluorescent light fixtures. To kind of decrease the amount of glare we're looking at on top here, but it's also just fewer fixtures too, which I think helps make this area feel a little bit better, to me at least. In the chat, let's see, some folks think, yeah, maybe the turret is a little bit faster. I think so. McLoganog notes that Half-Life 2 Episode 2 has a turret section that does this same kind of mechanic, but much better. I think I agree. Yeah, it wasn't really clear what I was supposed to bank my grenades off of, so then I just ended up throwing a random grenade that accidentally bounced off this wall. I don't know, it was really unclear what I was supposed to do. Let's keep going here. Oh, uh-oh. And then what's fun about this section is that now there's spawning head crabs, right? So with head crabs, you should probably be switching to your crowbar or your shotgun. But with these tripwires, right, if you want to get rid of them, you have to shoot them in advance. Like so. Let me see, make sure I got all the supplies here. So I think what a lot of players will do here is they'll shoot the thing from afar, they'll switch to their pistol, but then you see, oh, actually that triggers this blast door. Now we have to do an Indiana Jones moment and sneak underneath. So now that's the second time we see that. Or, because now it seems like there's a penalty associated with shooting the trip mine, it's almost like maybe we should try bypassing trip mines without shooting them. So now we're learning multiple ways to deal with these encounters, which is interesting. Because I have mid-range visibility here, I feel like the game is going to be spawning mid-range enemies against me, so I think what some players will be doing is they'll be switching to their pistol here once they see that they have a long sight line, because the shotgun will be useless. And that's exactly what happens. And then I die. So let's replay that again. So I think most players have to back up a little bit. Chase these dudes. Oh, uh-oh. So what just happened here, you might have noticed that the way I played out this encounter was because the Vorts had so much cover when they spawned behind these tables, I couldn't get a good hit on them. So instead I just hung back here and saved and waited for them to come to me. If you want to read more about this, read McLoganog or Andrew Yoder's blog post about this called The Door Problem. And this stating of the door problem is as follows, where the optimal way to play most encounters is to hang back and wait for enemies to come to you, and then when they come to you, they're in this choke point, and then you can just take care of them pretty easily. Especially because the Vortigaunt AI, it seems like they get panicked and then run away, and then that's your opportunity to chase them. And it kind of sucks if that's the optimal way to play out every fight, right? So here the game has very generously let me do that, but in future encounters in this chapter, you can assume that there's might be a one-way drop, or maybe there won't be any convenient cover if I hang back. So we'll see. We'll have to see what happens in the future. We'll have to see if I can do that again. Let's see, another cafeteria. This is reusing cafeteria assets from Office Complex and from Black Mesa Inbound, so it's always nice when you're able to do that in a game. Asset reuse is good, not bad, contrary to what the gamers on Reddit want you to think. Got some pistol ammo, which was pretty important. And then this is also a mini tutorial here to try to teach you that you can't, these are one-way doors, you have to open them from the other side. Although theoretically you should be able to just break through the glass window and then reach your arm through the opening. You know, like, that's what a human would do. That's what I imagine we would do in the Half-Life VR game. But maybe not, who knows. Okay, I'm full up on health. Ooh, I like how we can see some background stuff in the... Ooh, I like these plates. Can I break the plates? No, these are some strong plates. Oh wait, no, maybe they're not that strong. Oops. Let's see, this cafeteria. I like the set dressing here. The countertop here is really nice. I like this detail where there's a rack to slide our cafeteria tray along here. If you know me, I'm a big fan of bathrooms as well as industrialized food. So this nice detail helps it feel a lot more like a cafeteria, I think. And you know, there's also some nice thought here, right? It makes sense that employees would come in here, you'd queue up here, this is where you get your tray. We could be getting some like hot counter space here, but you know, it's fine. And then here's where you get your drinks and stuff. This is structured very sensibly like how a real cafeteria might be structured in organizing their operations. So, nice job. Hamburger. Ice cold soda. Oh, and here's the cafeteria menu. Look at that. Look at that. Pretty American menu, I think. Alpine Hue? That sounds disgusting. I would not drink that soda. Let's see. Should I critique this menu texture? I think my critique of this menu texture is that... let's see. I think the prices are kind of wrong. The prices are actually kind of cheap, too. I don't know when Half-Life is supposed to be set, though. It's set in early 2000s, I think. It is weird that the menu, though, isn't near the beginning. Maybe employees were meant to start here, but then all the trays are down here? Yeah, maybe we could critique some of the set dressing here. Ooh, I like these light fixtures. These are really nice. Let's see. Chicken burger? I think I would critique that a cafeteria... No, actually no. Cafeterias would have chicken burger. I take it back. I think what they wouldn't have is they wouldn't have vegetarian burger. To me, veggie burgers are like late 2000s. Let's see. If anyone in the chat is able to link to definitive Half-Life lore about when this was supposed to be based, I forget when the year actually was, but let me know. Let's see, anything else to critique here? Okay, the other thing is curry. Curry is very not American, like institutional curry especially would not be a standard thing, especially in a US government cafeteria. To me, you can easily tell that a British person made this menu and they don't actually know how much things would cost in America or what would be here. I think. Also, yes, you would not say cheese and tomato pizza, you would just say cheese pizza. So, just some mild critiques here where this doesn't quite feel American, but, American is the world's policeman anyway. Who cares? It's okay if you get things about America wrong. It doesn't really matter that much. Oh, also, okay. That said, you would not put hamburger quarter pound. You would specifically put quarter pound hamburger. You would word it differently. Anyway, okay, sorry, I'll stop. I know I'm annoying. I'm sorry, I'll stop. Let's see. Do you think there's a way behind this metal cage? I love this metal cage. These shutters. Very contemporary feeling. Let's try to no clip behind it too. So we can inspect some of this cafeteria back area here. These are all Half-Life 2 props. This shelf is a Half-Life 2 prop. These ovens are... I think this is a Counter-Strike prop. Oh well, just some very basic set dressing. But maybe that's all you need. Oh, invisible counter. Okay. That's enough cafeteria analysis. I'm sorry. And now we have another encounter. So these are like... What I like about this chapter is that these are like mini combat puzzles a little bit. Where now I feel like... Okay, so I feel like this encounter should have probably been more what the first turret encounter should have been like. Oh, there's a question in the chat. Is the Black Mesa team allowed to use stuff from Counter-Strike? I believe they are. It's fine. I believe there's a loose, informal license from Valve for any source mod or anything to use content from other games. Or at least when I was working on Black Mesa, that was our understanding. Anyway. Also, you also have to realize that for Black Mesa to sell retail on Steam, they are giving they had to pay a huge licensing fee to Valve. And they also are paying a huge chunk of their revenue to Valve as part of that license. As if Valve doesn't have enough money, but so just know that all this probably has Valve's official blessing. Don't worry. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Nice bit of set dressing. A little bit too much though. This room, this little section here, because first of all, they light it prominently with this light fixture. It makes me think that there's like important stuff right here because they like clutter all this stuff up. But then, ooh, yeah, actually, I'm a fan of these. Look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. This reminds me of the best part of Uncharted 4. If you play Uncharted 4, there's a part where you're in a market and there's sausages hanging off of these market stalls in an outdoor market, and you can just use Nathan Drake's head to headbutt all the sausages, and there's like ragdoll physics on all the sausages. This is like a metal sausage, This is my life. I'm a big fan of this. Anyway, what were we doing? Oh, we need to, I'm not a fan of putting these glow sprites on these buttons because it makes it feel like they're actually usable. I think if you want it to be an empty set dressing button, you should specifically not put anything on there. I don't know. Although, is there some... No, there's nothing behind this door. See? Anyway, okay, back to gameplay. Sorry about that. Okay, so now we have a combat puzzle, right? The player comes here, they see this red trip mine wire. Again, we know that we cannot shoot these trip mine wires out, and these are red lasers that we can use that will trigger these turrets, and we know these turrets will kill us very, very fast. So there's 2 or 3 strategies that we need, right? We could either jump over this trip mine, over this laser wire, to not trigger these turrets. We can try to preemptively blow up the turrets by shooting this explosive barrel. Or we could... Actually, those are basically our 2 options. So, informal poll in the chat, which strategy should we do? Strategy A is to try to jump over this trip mine wire. Strategy B is to shoot out this barrel and hopefully destroy these turrets. Option C is to just walk through this and get killed. So, what do we think? Jump, barrel, jump, barrel. Looks like everyone is saying... It looks like it's 50-50. Some people are voting for option C, which is where we just walk through and die. Okay, very helpful, everyone. I'm gonna go ahead and make the tie-breaking vote. I'm gonna vote for option... I'm gonna vote for shooting the barrel, because I think that's what most players would do, actually. And that will look like this. Well, that was easy. There's a question in the chat about crouch jumping. Does Black Mesa expect players to do crouch jumping? The regional Half-Life 1 did expect you to do crouch jumping, I believe. And if you didn't do the training course and learn how to crouch jump, then you wouldn't know how to finish the game. But I believe if you look here in the Black Mesa options, by default, auto crouch jump is enabled. So I believe that's already in there. And I believe the laser, I guess this laser got disabled the instant the linked turrets got killed. I guess that's what this red laser did. I don't think that was in the original, though. Okay, let's keep going. Ooh, ah! Where'd that guy go? Oh, did I kill him? That was a nice encounter. So it feels very Quake-like to do that. You know, we don't really do that anymore, right? So again, what happened in that encounter is I walked over here, because that's where I'm supposed to go, probably. And then it spawned, it was a trap. It spawned 3 Vortigons right behind me, so I had to make a split-second decision about which cover thing to do. I had my shotgun, so I wanted to do this and hide behind the pallets. And then that resulted in a cool encounter where they were attacking these pallets, and then that caused all the physics stuff to happen. The better thing probably would have been to hide here, or option C was if I had jumped over these laser wires, then those Vortigons would have had to fight with these turrets, and that would have been a cool example of infighting or something. But yes, we can imagine that backspawning, as McLoganog in the chat says, backspawning is perhaps a bypass around the door problem, where players will just lure enemies to a choke point to easily solve every combat encounter. If I was smarter, I also could have thrown a grenade to kill these Vortigons, but oh well. But yes, you do have to be careful with back spawning. One problem with it is that it does feel like a very level designery kind of thing. It feels like John Romero is smirking at us when he spawns like a shambler right behind us or something, which is, not the it's not the best feeling, especially because Half-Life 1 is just so deeply invested in realism. And backspawning or like monster closets or whatever, none of those kinds of gestures ever feel realistic. So, ooh, can I shoot these? Oh, that's kind of disappointing. I think in the original you could shoot the fire extinguishers and it would shoot off some steam or something. That's a shame. Oh well. Ooh, can I pull this fire alarm? No, I can't. Oh well, that's a shame. That's a double shame. Okay, let's keep going. Have to jump over these crates. And then if you're a smart... This is a little bit funny, because here, you jump down here and they specifically hide these turrets. One is behind here, and one is behind here. It's hard to see that they're there. So it's... Here the level designer's hidden them because they want you to have this specific reflex where you jump down and then suddenly you see these turrets and you're like, oh shit. And then you're just surrounded by them.
Lacerations. Ammunition depleted. Warning. Vital signs critical.
Oh, I don't have any shotgun ammo left. So now we have to do this other thing. So now it's setting up this other encounter where now these red lasers will trigger these turrets, but these turrets have a really good line of sight. There's no way to hide from them. So now it's mixing up this encounter. Now we're gonna have to use these blast doors, maybe trigger them on purpose, and when we trigger the blast doors on purpose, then we'll have to duck underneath and the blast door will shield us from these turrets from killing us. So let's see if that plan works. And now we're safe, and everything's okay. So now the blast doors have gone from being a weird set dressing thing to like a weird trap, but also something good that helps protect us sometimes too. I'm a big fan of this. I like this mechanic. It feels very, it fits with the theme. It feels realistic, and it's a cool kind of dynamic environment kind of thing. So I've always been a fan of these blast doors. I think it's good level design. Let's see, what can we do here? So we could stack some crates to try to jump over this. One funny thing about this section is, I think in the original, this is ice. So what most players end up doing is you need some momentum to jump over this, and then you end up sliding into this elevator shaft and dying. So now this is introducing a slippery water mechanic, although it doesn't really make sense that you'd slip in water. I think in the original it's ice, if I recall correctly. Let's see. So I guess I'm gonna try to... I guess what you learn is that you need good air control for this. Or you can try to use these grenades to hit these turrets prematurely in case you don't have faith in your platforming abilities. So I think I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try to be sneakier. Do some very subtle air control of my jumps. Uh-oh. What's kind of funny is that you need air control, right? Because if you have too much forward momentum, you're just gonna slide into the laser. So these two dudes are basically just watching me. So you have to jump, but then backpedal while you're in the air, so that you don't. But if you backpedal too much, you end up triggering this laser as well. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Attention. System now under military command.
Oh, am I safe? Oh, those turrets are facing the wrong way. Oh, yay, I'm safe. Yay. Well, let's jump over this thing. Hey, dudes.
You're sure you don't mind if I come with you?
You know where to find me.
What's kind of fun here is that there's a trip mine here. Now it's really hard to get rid of this trip mine. Like, these guys are guaranteed to die. I don't see any possible way to save them. I guess I could try to make them. I can try to, like, push them.
Lead the way.
Glad to oblige a fellow scientist.
I could try to, like, herd them over here.
I refuse to go another step.
My most sincere apologies, Freeman.
That's enough excitement for me, thanks.
Maybe I can save the daddy with the glasses. I don't know if I can save this guy, though.
Wouldn't you like to get one of these blood samples under a microscope?
Okay, so now I'm gonna try to detonate
you are
this
completely wrong.
to clear a path from a safe distance. Oh, that didn't work at all. Oh well, I mean, I tried, right? I tried. That's all you can ask. That's all you can ask of me. Okay, well, moving on. Let's collect all these supplies, which we sorely need. Let's walk up here. Oh, now we see where the turrets come from. They are military turrets. I think that's one really interesting thing about some of the storytelling in Half-Life, right? They just introduced these turrets without any warning, and it's not really clear where they came from or who set them up, but we don't actually see who sets up the turrets until we do our first Marine soldier fight much later. And now we're gradually seeing also more military equipment around too. And then as if to, and then here's a nice little gesture. This is almost like the level designer telling us, don't worry, even if you saved them, it wouldn't have mattered. I think that's what this crate is trying to tell us, because these stairs are broken, that means even if we did save the scientists, they couldn't have followed us anyway. So I feel like that's what this crate is here for. It's telling us, don't sweat it, they had to die anyway. Ooh, I like this set dressing. This is like some kind of like foreman's office here, with all these nice little tools. The shadows are a bit silly, but oh well. All these little tools. A car battery? I don't know why there's a car battery here.
Oh, rescued at last! Thank God! No!
Oh, that's a little bit weird. I think the way this used to play out in the original Half-Life 1 was the guy comes down here. There's more of you. The pacing was a little bit better, and then the grunts finally walk out, and then they shoot him. Like there's a little bit more anticipation and more foreshadowing about what's going on, and then the grunt comes out here and shoots them, and then the grunt doesn't actually see you. I believe in the original, the grunt is just supposed to kills the scientist and then starts going into patrol mode a little bit. And what was really nice about that was that the soldier doesn't actually know you're there yet. So now you just got introduced to this new enemy that you've never seen before, and you have to decide, oh shit, they don't like each other. Uh-oh, what do I do now, right? How do I fight this new enemy? It was kind of a cool moment that I think hasn't been translated very faithfully here. I wish that was scripted a little bit better. I don't know. Yeah, so in the chat, Tuglaw proposes one reason for that is in the original, you start up higher. So you're more out of the grunt's line of sight, maybe? Yeah, maybe that's true. But yeah, I wish that moment played out better. That kind of wasn't the best. Let's see what else is going on in this room. So this room is also just really like, for lack of a better term, just like boring and boxy. This is maybe what we critique. So the level design here is actually quite good, a lot of it, right? There's a lot of interesting verticality. The combat encounters with the turrets are also super interesting. But then here, ooh, is this interactive? Oh, no, it's not. Boo. But from another perspective, the gameplay here is the aesthetics here are just very boring. Where it's just like, you know, boxes and barrels. There's nothing really to see here. If you've ever played a first-person game where there's just nothing, where you feel like you're just walking through warehouse after warehouse, it's a military warehouse, oh surprise, it's another military warehouse, that's Half-Life's fault. And you can see the seeds of that right here. Oh, and then is there a secret? Oh, yeah, there's some secret grenades here. That's nice. Although, I'm full up on grenades. I don't need any more grenades. Let's see. One other critique I think I have of this whole warehouse aesthetic is that, again, Half-Life was built within the technical constraints of 1996 to 1998. And those constraints pervade every decision that went into Half-Life, including the level theming. You know, we're fighting in a warehouse because that is what was easy to build back in 1996 or 1997 or 98, right? But if we're updating this for 2020, should we still keep it like a warehouse? I was more now on the Black Mesa team, I believe you'll find a variety of opinions on this. I was probably more on the team revisionists, where we should not adhere too closely to the original, that we should keep the spirit of the original and try to keep the same flow and space, but ultimately treat the original like more like a gray box or blockout, and feel free to deviate from the set dressing and theming a little bit. So I think what I would have done was make this feel like a more specific kind of warehouse. You know, like there's all these random spools of stuff, right? But what's in any of this? You know, who lived here? How was this warehouse even organized, right? Why is there a why is there this weird gantry crane that doesn't really go anywhere? It's also just totally also a useless gantry crane because like it just ends right here. Like there's nowhere for it to go. There's nothing to do. There's no use for it. Like you can't even use this to load the freight lift over here. So what? Anyway, I don't know. Just a lot of stuff like that where it doesn't. The believability and plausibility of the space suffers when you adhere too closely to the original. Anyway, that's just my opinion. Okay, let's see. In the chat, people are saying, Snapman and Rectus in the chat say, it would have been cool for this encounter if we could have used this crane thing to, like, drop a thing on the grunt. And I feel like that might have been the original intention, almost. Because here you can see, this is actually a custom-made texture. This screenshot matches this camera perspective. Where would this camera perspective be? It matches what this camera over here would have seen. Is there a camera here? I don't think there's a camera here. So I almost feel like that was the intention, where we could have dropped the box on the grunt, but maybe it's a little bit too silly, so they disabled it? I don't know. Let's see, other discussions. Was the surface tension chapter added to this final release? Yes, I believe all the chapters are here. Version 1.0, it's complete. Oh yeah, there's a camera right here. Oh yeah, okay, so this is the camera, I guess. That's the camera feed we would have seen. Okay, let's keep going. So now we have to go into this elevator. And then this is a pretty memorable moment in We've Got Hostiles. Because this is our first fight with the grunts now. The interesting thing about grunts is that they're a little bit resistant to the door problem. Where, first of all, if you just hide behind something, the grunts have grenades, and they will just try to use grenades to flush you out, maybe. The other thing is that the grunts... Was that gonna hurt me? No. The original Half-Life grunts were also pretty, like, sneaky, you know? Oh, shit! I'm getting killed here. There we go. So Black Mesa source grunt AI is a little bit controversial, just because the original Half-Life grunt AI is almost like a sacred holy relic, where the original is just held up as a high watermark of combat AI and enemy design. in the history of first-person games. So when you're remaking something like that, it's really difficult because first of all, you can't really, it's really hard to replicate it. The original Grunt AI is just, it's kind of a masterpiece because it's not, they're not actually operating as a squad. It's just them. They share visibility and I think memory, but they don't really like coordinate per se. Like you would imagine a modern 2020, 2020. Oh, I could have just gone through this door, sneaky side route. They should put like a light over this door if they want you to use it. I didn't even know there was a door here. But yeah, it's a little bit controversial. Like, does this... Oh, I should use this explosive barrel too. Like when you update this Grunt AI, how should they behave? The Half-Life 2 Combine Soldier AI is not the best. The Half-Life 2 combat AI is just... Oh, is he okay? He doesn't look okay. It's not very good because they kind of just run around in lines, and it's not very fun to fight them. I think for this version 1.0 release, the Black Mesa team has probably done a lot of work into trying to make the AI feel very different from the Combine Soldier AI. So that's one big thing to keep in mind, right? They're trying to... When you're remaking this AI, you need it to feel different from both the Half-Life 1 Grunt AI to like make your own mark or whatever, to make it feel like they're smarter or whatever. And so the suppressing fire, actually, you might have noticed when I was hiding here, and they were just shooting a lot right here to keep me pinned down here. There was much less of the suppressing fire behavior back in the original Half-Life 1 Grunt AI. But now in this version, there's so much, right? So that's the weight of 10 to 15 years of Counter-Strike, of Modern Warfare, of Call of Duty, of military realism in games, creating these expectations for how soldiers are supposed to behave in a first-person shooter. Let's see, what else is going on here? Let's look at this room a little bit. So this room, I think, is a little bit dark. Let me change the gamma on my video feed so you can see more what I'm actually seeing. I'm actually artificially boosting the gamma of your video feed quite a lot. Here, I left it a little bit boosted still, but you can see that's actually much darker a little bit. And I don't know if I'm a big fan of leaving this so shadowy. It doesn't quite work as a combat space. I think the big thing that also doesn't make this work as well is just that here the player is just so pinned down. Like, I had no mid-range cover. This was like a big no man's land. They had really good cover from here, and they had good cover up here on this upper balcony. So the grunt up here stays as like a sniper grunt, and then these 2 or 3 are supposed to rush me, right? And then I'm just stuck here, holding on for dear life, hoping I don't die. But really, I feel like they're critical, but it doesn't feel good to do a fight like that, right? They built out this nook clearly for me to hide here and be scared. But they also wanted me to feel clever by finding this side nook. And then I could have used this to flank them, right? But here's my machine gun. The distances are just a little bit too far for this machine gun. Like, this machine gun is a really good mid-range weapon, where if there was a grunt like right here, then it would be really good to take them out. But when they're like back there, you know, it's much harder to try to hit them. I don't know. The encounter and cover design for this is kind of weird. So I feel like the lack of mid-range cover here was totally meant to funnel us through this room. But if we're meant to be funneled through this room, why keep it so dark and hidden and out of the way? I don't know. Anyway, let's keep going. I do like the verticality here. I like that there's multiple levels to this room. It feels nice and open too, in contrast to some of the closer, claustrophobic kind of corridor bunker rooms.
Attention. Black Mesa. Announcement system now.
And I have to sneak across this thing. We have to sneak across these weird pipes and not touch these barnacles, which we can see up here. Uh-oh. Or, if we're smart, could we use these barnacles to get lifted up there and then jump on those pipes above? I mean, maybe. I don't know. This is kind of interesting because, I mean, I guess I could use... I feel like most players wouldn't think to do that though. I think most players would just keep going right here. You can also tell it's not part of the critical path because potentially if you killed all these barnacles, then you wouldn't have any way to get up there. So the game won't let you get stuck, so this can't be... This has to be like a secret bonus thing or a shortcut, not really like the intentional main way you're meant to play. What's interesting thing about this though is that it's also setting up a backstop for us where if, say, some grunts or vortigons start rushing down this corridor at me, it's gonna be really hard for me to backtrack.
Attention.
And there's no good cover right here,
All
right?
science
These walls don't
personnel
give me good cover from up there.
topside for
So let's see what happens.
questioning.
Oh, looks like there's no grunts. That's okay. Let's see, what would most players do here? So this is really interesting, non-linearity here, where we have to, there's a fork in our path. We have to go here or there. Maybe I'll go here. And I believe there will be some grunts up here, if I remember correctly. So if we walk here. Or maybe there's no grunts up there, huh? Oh no, it's this part? Oh my god. Oh, ah! Oh my god, aren't you dead yet? And now we're getting pulled by this. But, if I time it correctly... Oh no, I don't have enough air control.
Major fracture
Never mind.
detected. Automatic medical systems engaged. Morphine and minor lacerations detected.
Any goodies? No? So now I have to do this conveyor belt puzzle, it looks like? Ugh, okay. Ooh, this is interesting. So now there's turrets below us. So now I have to make sure I have cover against it. And I had to sneak past this guy. Maybe if I run past here. Yeah, I'm still shielded from it. I can charge up.
Turret maintenance team.
Yeah, what's weird about this part is that, yeah, I'm supposed to fight from the door here? Well, let me just throw this grenade down there. Oops. The grenade throwing feels a little bit off. Feels strange. There we go. Uh-oh. Now I shut that door, though. My bad. But yeah, that was yeah, it's weird that the conveyor belt keeps pushing me back, so I had to fight from this door. Ugh, yeah. Let's see, I think I have to keep going this way? Oh, but there's trip mines here. So, what can I do? Can I, like, roll a grenade here? Oh, uh-oh. So this is another encounter where you see scientists run ahead, and then in the original, I think it plays out like that, right? And then that's kind of ominous foreshadowing. That tells you, uh-oh, I think they've seen me. Where is he? I don't even know where he is. Oh, ouch. Where is he? Oh, he's up there. Is he dead? I don't hear him. Oh no, where is he? It's weird that there's no like radio stuff on them. The original grunt voices were kind of easier to listen to and easier to parse. These are kind of hard to like figure out what's going on though. I don't know. Let's see, so let's talk about this room. Yeah, again, I agree that the scale here was a little bit strange, where the scientists started here, and I thought they were gonna maybe run right here, and then maybe die right here. But instead, they had to run all the way down here to get killed, which was a little bit weird. So just, yeah, the length, the script, I think that could have been scripted better.
Attention.
What else?
Military personnel. Extreme atomic biological.
The platforms here were at a really odd angle where I had to like shoot at a really high, steep angle. And then there's all this stuff in the way too, so it's not like a very like... It's not very like... It wasn't like a very satisfying fight, I think, because I could barely even see them. I was basically just sniping at them through like a little 1 centimeter hole right here. I don't know if the original did that too. But it doesn't quite... Yeah, the fights don't feel that satisfying to me, I think. Yeah, I think I preferred when they're... So we call that those barks, right? When enemies in games are constantly spitting all these audio lines out here. The grunts here should be spitting out like radio messages and stuff. And they do, but I think in the original they were much more mouthy. They were much more chatty. And also there were some, yeah, great audio click things on the radios that they had. There was also one really nice radio effect that the grunts had, where you would just hear radio static coming out of their radios every now and then. They're not saying anything, but you just hear their radio static going off, which I felt like was really nice. That's probably one of the sounds that I remember most from the original Half-Life. Oh, dude's up here. Yeah, again, these fights are such long range, it's not... Yeah, I don't know. I think I would... I think I'd probably rebuild... It's how this... I don't know. It doesn't... It's not super interesting to look at, this room. I think it kind of resembles the original. I vaguely remember walking on platforms like this in the original, but... Just combat-wise, maybe it worked better for the original Grunt AI, but I don't know if this layout works good for the new AI they have for their soldiers. I don't know. Oh, there's a question. Was this built with ADS in mind? Aim down sights. Oh, you know, like in Call of Duty or something. Like iron sight stuff. I don't think so. Or if there is, I don't know how to do it. I can zoom in. I'm pressing the Z key to zoom in, but I can't fire while zoomed in. Let's see, did I get all the goodies here? No, some ammo, got that. Okay. But yeah, this kind of room, yeah, isn't the most interesting, and yeah, I don't know. Oh, and now we're on the upper level. Remember when we were down there? Now we're crossing over up here. That's fun. maybe the biggest change from the original Half-Life 1 AI and this is that the original AI could not do more than one thing at once. Here you'll notice they are often firing while walking. That's from the Half-Life 2 AI. The original could not do that, which resulted in, I think, better fights, maybe? Here they're just always moving and they're always just walking at a slow rate, and then, yeah, it's just hard to know what their intentions are. But I also get the idea that you have to make these grunts seem like they're smart or whatever here in the year 2020, and that's just the standard for what soldiers are supposed to do in games now. Is there anything in here? No. I love these shelf props, by the way. I like how they're bright yellow. It injects a lot more color into this chapter than would normally be here. Because otherwise this chapter is just like gray everywhere. I think here we're back in this room. You'll recall that we were down there before, right? That was the entrance to the whole conveyor belt puzzle thing. Environment art wise, I think I'm still not really a fan here. I feel like it got lit. I think the lighting is my biggest issue. I feel like it got lit with the specific intention of trying to cast as many shadows off these little like truss column things as much as possible, so you get these shadows. But it just looks kind of weird. It's just way too dark. No, it doesn't feel like a warehouse. I don't know. I think there's just something off about it. And I don't think I like this accent lighting either. I think I would have lit this differently. I don't think you should repeat these light fixtures on every column at any rate. Am I gonna fight some grunts here? Oh. I guess not. Oh, there we go. Shotgun grunt. Oh, he was like there to like ambush me. Interesting.
Military personnel. Atomic, biological, chemical alert.
Now there's a fun little puzzle. How do we get to that battery there?
Power 20%.
Any other little puzzles here? Supplies in here? No. Cube map on that's really off. That's weird. Okay. Let's continue. Okay, I believe now is the part where we go topside, I believe. This is also like a very memorable part of the game because this is the first time we get to explore on the surface. But it's been more than an hour. I think I'm gonna have to log off and take a break, unfortunately. Next week we will play through the rest of We've Got Hostiles and explore this very interesting little surface intro and listen to some cool rock music, industrial stuff. So tune in next time. Thanks for hanging out and stay safe. Have a good one. Bye.